You're fine. Keep talking.
Just like
You keep talking. You don't have to.
yeah,
Hello, YouTube.
Wait on Facebook.
Y'all can talk. So y'all don't have to. It's better when people are talking. So because we're live somewhere, you know. So.
We're the parties.
Well, we're at David Starr Racing Party.
Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen, to episode number 28 of Let's Go Racing with David Starr. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. We are live for the first time ever from Texas Motor Speedway as the NASCAR All-Star Race just wrapped up a few moments ago. We got a live audience here, too. The Let's Go Racing VIPs, as we call them, from the secret location. What a last few days it's been. And before I do anything else, I am contractually obligated to tell you about Whataburger. Don't forget that every Whataburger is made fresh, served hot, prepared just like you like it. Want jalapenos and cheese on that? No, they've got you covered. Whataburger, proud to serve it hot and fresh 24 hours a day. Boys, it is good to be here in person. We've been doing this show half a year over Zoom, and now I finally get to see your lovely faces. It is good. First off, before anything else, it is good to see you both.
Well, man, it's great to see you guys. You guys are awesome in person. You know, I mean, this Skype thing, and it's cool, and we make it work. But hey, I love it just in person. You know, where we're sitting right beside each other.
There's something about it being organic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
No,
and an audience, of course.
no doubt. Hey.
And we want to encourage, if you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube, please share this on all your platforms. Feel free to comment, send in questions, whatever you got on this live show, this very special Sunday night edition of Let's Go Racing. Guys, let's start right at it, looking back at that race you just saw. Kyle Larson continues this great run he's been on the last couple of weeks, and tonight was one of the most interesting of the wins. It wasn't a dominating night for Kyle Larson. It was a dominating night for Hendrick Motorsports, but ultimately Kyle Larson once again. David, we'll start with you. What a run that Kyle's been on here as of late.
Man, you know, you hit it. Kyle Larson, just God, what a talent. When you say Kyle Larson, what comes to my mind? I think of a Tony Stewart, an AJ Foyt, even a Mario Andretti. Just those guys. When you talk about those guys, you know, the car control, sprint cars, midget cars, late model dirt cars. It doesn't matter what kind of car that Kyle Larson gets in, he wins. And you put him in the Hendrick Motorsports car, and the guy's the hottest thing going on right now in NASCAR. And man, it just reminds me of those Richard, you know, AJ Foyt, you know, Tony Stewart. I mean, that's just unbelievable, this guy, you know. So Hendrick Motorsports, man, they're on fire right now, you know. Their cars were first, second, third, and fourth a couple of times during the race today, and
I believe all four cars won one of the rounds during the race.
Absolutely, all four of them. So you know, it's kind of interesting in this industry. I think they found something. I mean, we know how spectacular, we know how talented Kyle Larson is. You look at Chase Elliott, you look at William Byron, you just look at the Hendrick drivers. We know those guys are some of the best ever. But you know, they're beating what they're doing out there the last 5, 6, 7 races is amazing. I think Hendrick Motorsports has found something, and I don't know where that something is, but everybody's looking for it, you know, because those cars, I mean, week in and week out, it's Hendrick Motorsports. First, second, third, fourth, fifth. They're always in the top 5, and man, they've been dominating the 2021 season so far.
And Dave, you've been following the sport a long time. So this group of Hendrick drivers, we're looking at Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott, 1-2 every week is what it seems like. Does this have shades of Jeff Bodine and Tim Richmond, or Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson?
Man, I think you're looking at greatness. You know, when you talk about Tim Richmond and Jeff Bodine, I mean, you know, those guys and what they accomplished in their careers. I mean, they were our heroes we watched on television for a long time, wanted to be like. And then you bring in Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon. I mean, unbelievable. The charisma that Jeff Gordon has, his ability and what he did in the race car. And he kind of put Hendrick Motorsports on the map. And when I say that, he won championships, he won races, and then he was on television. You know, he's on Good Morning America.
Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night
Yeah,
Live. I
right.
mean, so I think Jeff kind of put our sport in the spotlight in the 2000th century, in the 20th century, and it was just amazing. But man, you're looking at Kyle Larson and William Byron and Chase Elliott. I mean, they're all great. You know what I mean? So it's hard to compare, but they're all great. That's for sure.
So one of the things you'll look at tonight, the way that Keselowski competed, had a good run there at the end. Ryan Blaney did end up winning one of these rounds. I think we're trying to find that team to compete with Hendrick Motorsports, to challenge them of some sorts. I liked what I saw from Penske tonight. Do you think they could be the ones that give Hendrick some pressure of some sorts? Do you like what Blaney, Keselowski, and Logano can do maybe to challenge the Hendrick bunch? Are they the ones to rise to the occasion, you think?
Well, they even talked about that on the broadcast tonight, how powerful Team Penske looked outside of Hendrick Motorsports. And you know who was off today? And I caught up with the team owner, was Coach Joe Gibbs. Talked with Gibbs leaving pit road, and he was saying, we were off tonight. He goes, Penske and Hendrick were just a lot faster. He goes, we need to go back and regroup. And you're right. I think it's Team Penske right now as the hot shoe outside of Hendrick Motorsports.
I was watching the race, and at one point I was saying earlier that Brad Keselowski was way in the back, and I'm like watching this, and I'm looking at Ryan Blaney and I'm watching Logano. Those guys were kind of hanging back, and man, these guys are smart. They're a racing team, they're engineers, they're crew chief. I mean, they're the best in the business. And man, when it came down to the money laps to the end of the race, look who came to the forefront. You know what I mean? So you look at the Hendrick Motorsports and you look at what Penske did, and man, you can never live out Gibbs. I mean, Gibbs cars, they were a little off tonight, but I can assure you that next week in Nashville Super Speedway that you'll see a Gibbs running, you'll see a Gibbs car. And Denny Hamlin's been on fire. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just
all those top fives just don't win yet.
Amazing, But anyway, and then we're still looking for that that Stuart Haas. I mean, we know since 2021 started at Daytona, we were looking for Kevin Harvick. I mean, Harvick won 9 races last year.
Harvick and Hamlin still haven't won. That's obviously the biggest surprise of this year.
And they won like half the races last year.
No doubt about it. So you just, any race, any weekend, you just know that Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick are going to get their season turned around and be in victory lane. I'm really, I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of shocked that the Stuart Haas organization hasn't had a car in victory lane yet.
Well, Tyler, you brought it up when we were doing our preview. Who got a good shot in the arm tonight as far as momentum? I kind of backtracked to that and looked at Stuart Haas Racing. How about Eric Almirola getting the victory in the Open, advancing to the All-Star race? He has just one top 10 finish. And we look at this as a driver 3 years removed. When he first came to that car, took a victory at Talladega, finished 5th in points. It's Murphy's Law with Eric Almirola this year. What can go wrong has gone wrong. But maybe tonight was the turn of the tide for that team.
And they need a turning point, especially that 10 car in particular. Something needs to get going right for that team because we know how good that they're capable of being. Now, as far as the All-Star race itself, first time Texas Motor Speedway has ever hosted the All-Star race. David, this is your home track, as most people know. Great crowd on hand tonight. They did all sorts of stuff the last week plus leading up to this race. How do you feel Texas did hosting the All-Star race for the first time?
Man, I think they did a tremendous job. When we were sitting over here in Mark Tate's condo and looking out, watching the race, and you're looking towards the front straightaway, I was really amazed and just excited how many people were here. And then the flyover was exciting, the entertainment, the national anthem, the prayer was awesome. And that's what I love about our sport. Yeah. We pray and we honor our country. That's one thing beautiful about NASCAR, and the fans love our sport. But, man, just from start to finish, the way it all worked out, I just think Eddie Gossage and everybody that works here at the Texas Motor Speedway, they put on a heck of an all-star race weekend. It was just amazing. I don't know. What about you guys? What do y'all think?
Well, this was only the second time I've been here. First time was back in 2011 just as a fan. And, 9 years come by, and I got to tell you, I was so impressed with the job that they put on at this facility. When you look at, see, where we're at right now, we're in a condo in the middle of turn 2 with this spectacular view. And
a great audience.
Great audience, yeah. than that, whether it's Mark Tate and company doing a great job hosting us, we certainly appreciate it. Yes, certainly. You looked at just all that's around this area. In Fort Worth, a lot of Whataburger around here, as a guy from Tulsa, I felt right at home here at Texas Motor Speedway. This is like my backyard. So I will be glad to come back here. I'm not waiting 9 years to come back to Texas Motor Speedway. I can tell you that right now, Dom.
Well, I told you guys too, when we were doing our first few shows, we were all just kind of recapping 2020. Not only did I tell you guys, but I savored that March race in Phoenix last year because it was right before the country stopped and everything shut down. 55,000 fans out in Phoenix, shooting photos, covering the race weekend. We hadn't had that over the last 16 months. To be back at a racetrack, see a bunch of fans in that grandstands, people down in the infield. It looked like what we remember as normal. And I was certainly taking that in. And
it felt like a normal weekend.
Exactly. When you go 15, 16 months without that, you definitely just savor it that much more when it comes back around.
Well, I would tell you that our sport, NASCAR, auto racing, the whole industry of NASCAR, it doesn't work without the race fans. If you don't have the race fans here, you don't have a sport. You know what I mean? Because the manufacturers involved in NASCAR racing, because they want the fans to go to a Ford dealership, a Chevrolet dealership, or a Toyota dealership and buy their cars. And if the sponsors don't put their names on race cars and don't put their names on billboards and don't put their names everywhere in these stadiums that we race at, it's the only reason why they do it because of the race fans. You know what I mean? So everything's about the race fans. And if you don't have race fans at the racetrack, man, it doesn't survive. It doesn't work. And I remember when I went last year, I was driving up to Martinsville and I pulled over to get some fuel in my truck. And Kevin Harvick was right there. Somebody said, "Hey, David," and I looked up and it was Harvick getting fuel, and he had just won the race the weekend before, and we're just sitting there talking about things. He said, "Starr, man, I think it was Darlington." He said, "Man, it's the weirdest thing winning a race and nobody's there, nobody's cheering, there's no fans in the stand." So, man, it's really a beautiful thing to have. Our sport needs it. Our racetracks needs it. And again, it's everything. The fans are everything. And thank God. I mean, I think our sport is in good health. Yes. I mean, the show they put on after the race, the whole race, the all-star race, and just all the people in the stands, it was unbelievable.
Well, Eddie Gossage, this is his last race at Texas Motor Speedway. He's been here since this thing opened 25 years ago. And what they've done to promote this track and get it to where it is today, I think we would be remiss if we didn't mention Eddie and what he did with this track. He went out on a high tonight, I think.
No doubt about it. And, one thing about Eddie, I've known him forever. And, since this place opened up, we were having racing schools before the racetrack even opened, and one of the things I know about Eddie, he's all about the fans. He's always trying to outdo himself and the team here at Texas Motor Speedway to entertain the fans. It was always about the fans. We talk about the fans, and Eddie got it as a promoter. I mean, they don't make them any better than Eddie Gossage, and I think Eddie was at Atlanta and Charlotte. He's been around, but I tell you what, the state of Texas and the Texas Motor Speedway and the fans in this part of the country, we were lucky to have an Eddie Gossage to take this place and put it on the map. And he's done a phenomenal job. And I'm kind of sad that after tonight, Eddie will not be the general manager of the Texas Motor Speedway. And that's kind of a sad thing. But, hey, man, he's had a great career. He's done his job, and he's left this place in good hands. So it's a wonderful.
Quite that send-off, even off the back. It's all those drums. Thank you, Eddie. Sammy Hagar playing I Can't Drive 55. I mean, how Eddie knows how to do it right. And
yeah, he does. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. So David, let's talk about your weekend now. You raced the Xfinity race, get that top 20 finish yesterday. You raced in the Open today as well. Tell me about your weekend experience here.
Man, not having any practice, my Whataburger Toyota Super was awesome yesterday. When the race started, not having any practice, you're always thinking, man, I'm talking to my crew chief, I'm talking to my team, and I'm just thinking, man, I hope it's good from the start. But I think we fell from being from 32nd or 33rd to dead last, So, hey, guys, when you turn in the corner here at the Texas Motor Speedway, run 180 miles an hour, the back of the end wanted to swap ends on me, wanted to spin out. So I was telling them, they said, hang on to it. We'll fix it, man. This first couple of pit stops, they were making some serious adjustments. And, we never got it where it was perfect, but it was really good. And we started making some ground, and we ended up bringing our Whataburger Toyota Super back home. I think we finished 20th. And, for the people that understand racing, it's all about entry, the center, and the exit of the corner. And, man, I could get in the corner good, but, man, that Toyota wouldn't turn. It wouldn't rotate in the center. And, man, the restarts, I think I was 18th. I lost a couple of spots. And, man, I can't tell you what I was telling myself inside my race car, but I was like, come on, turn. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't turn. But, hey, we'll take a top 20. It wasn't a bad finish from where we started and how the car was. And, for a team like Carl Long Motorsports and myself and all our partners, I mean, for us, obviously the powerhouse teams, the Hendricks and the Dale Earnhardt Juniors and the Roushes and, those guys, they're the powerhouse, but it's always great to take an underfunded team and finish 12th and 13th. And every time I finish 12th and 13th, I always tell my guys, I see y'all in victory lane. They're going, what? Because we won, you know what I mean? We won. But anyway, it was just a great weekend. And then to get to drive our cup car in the open race was a lot of fun. We knew that was going to be a practice session for us for Nashville next week. The car drove pretty good. We made some adjustments during the race. It was kind of a practice session. It was a practice session, and it was fun. We were a little racy the first 20 laps, but I'm not real sure when we made that first pit stop after the first segment, they put on a new set of Goodyears. I think they put on a used set of tires. That's what it felt like, but man, I had a big old smile on my face, having a great time. It was incredible and a lot of fun.
I got to give this.
Talk a lot about the talk this week. Okay, and
that was bound to happen.
Right, exactly. Magic of live TV here.
Yeah.
But drivers have been talking a lot this week about the heat index. 95 yesterday, 97 today, and some drivers felt it more than others. Did you feel any more drained yesterday or today compared to how you would typically feel after climbing out of a race car?
Man, I'm used to the heat, being from Texas, and I try to work out and do my thing in the heat. And being from Houston, Texas, I mean, us Texans, we understand the heat, and we're good with the heat. I love it when it's hot because I feel like I have a little bit of an edge over my competitors. But I can tell you, yesterday was extremely hot inside the race car. And I really didn't feel it until the race ended and we pulled down the pit road and we're sitting there and they're checking your lug nuts. And I'm like, man, I'm hot. And when I finally got out of the race car and when the race was over with, I had to pour 3 or 4 bottles over my head. And I was kind of disappointed that I was so hot. And then a couple of people said, well, hey, our driver's in the infield care center. You know what I mean? So it was hot, and it's just hot here. The humidity was hot. It's been raining a lot here in Texas, and the humidity was really hot. And it was extremely warm inside the race cars. But, hey, the bottom line, we're athletes. And I can assure you, if I'd have pulled in and said, hey, I need a 10-minute break, I'd probably be looking for another job. You know what I mean? So I have to, as a competitor, I have to make sure that I give my team and my sponsors and everybody involved, I got to be 110% from the time they drop the green until the end. You know what I mean? You can't fall out of the seat. Right. We're in a performance-driven industry. And, man, my guys, when it was over with, said, man, you were digging to the end. They could see my lap times. And a lot of times, I've had people say, you hear people talk and say, well, our driver fell out of the seat. I said, he did? He said, oh, yeah, about 75 laps to go, man. He just said, man, I got to come in. I'm hot. I need some water. I'm like, man, you just can't do that in this industry. So as as I know how hot Texas is because we live here, I feel like I'm in pretty good shape. And I don't let the heat bother me. You can't. If it does, you'll be unemployed really quick.
No kidding. No kidding. Now, for folks watching, you're seeing David, in the race car on Saturday, this afternoon, seeing him do this podcast with us tonight. But that's not half of what's going on here. I got to give this man some credit. I mean, you're working with your sponsors constantly, making all the rounds and such, and then you're being a dad, of course, being a husband. I mean, this guy. I'm not even half your age, and I'm wondering, how do I get David's energy? How can I just go all the time? David, it is impressive to seeing the work ethic that you put in a weekend like this. Unbelievable, man.
Well, man, it's all about our partners. We're here in this condo, this beautiful condo here at the Texas Motor Speedway, and Mark Tate, our great friend, he's entertained my family, you guys, and all our friends, our other sponsors. Mark was nice enough to let you guys stay in this condo here this weekend.
I'll be sleeping here tonight.
And, Mark's, it was a great company called T-Top Manufacturing, one of our partners. And, just so thankful that Mark, gives us the opportunity to go out there and race and help us. And all our partners, if we don't have partners, if we don't have sponsors in this industry, man, you don't race anymore. I mean, this is my 24th year. And for 17 years, I was just a hired driver. Now, when the phone rings and when people stop me and ask me, hey, man, you want to come drive our race car next year? I said, man, I'd love to come drive your race car. I said, man, we got these engines, we got this engineer, when got this crew chief, and I said, man, I'm ready, And then the next question is, well, how much money do you have?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the driver. All the drivers have to bring funding. You know what I mean? So, man, I'm so thankful for all our partners. Some give you $1,000, some give you $100,000, but it doesn't matter if somebody gives you $5. That's more than you had before they gave you that $5. And then, absolutely, man, everybody that's ever helped me, they're still my best friends. I don't tell them any of them no. And it's so important. But, when we're here at Texas, I have a lot of partners that come to this race. And it's important that me and my wife and my kids, we go by and spend some time with them, see their customers, see their friends, to let them know, man, I just, thank you's not really big enough.
Yeah.
It's bigger than a thank you, but that's all I can offer them is just stop by and talk to them and hug them and let them know again, man, I'm just so thankful that y'all helped me, and my team, because, man, it's all about money. It's all about money in this industry. The more money you got, the faster you go, the better equipment you have, the more tires you can buy, the better engines you have, and the technology and the resources takes money to get all that. So, man, all our sponsors, thank you.
Sure. And time's your biggest asset. If you could invest that.
No, thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No doubt about that. Before we move on, let me ask you just, here you are. We're getting close to the halfway point in the season. This is the time of year where, TV transitions to NBC and such like that. Well, where you're at right now, David, do you feel like you guys are headed in the right direction? Do you see progress being made? How would you evaluate where you and your team are at this point compared to what you were at the beginning of 2021?
As the race car driver gets all the, everybody's all about the driver. You know what I'm saying? And it's really not ever, it's partly about the driver, but it's all about the team owner and the guys that are working their tails off and the crew chief, the engineers. I mean, these guys, they're so passionate about racing, and, man, I want to work with passionate people. And we have a small team, and the reason why we compete really, I said we compete really well is because the desire, the heart and desire and their passion. And
sure,
when we leave the racetrack, if we finish 20th or we finish 18th or 17th, as long as we left the racetrack and we all did 110%, we gave it all we had, and we got everything out of the race car, I'm good with it. When we leave the racetrack, we finish 22nd or 20th, and I know there was more there. And, man, I let them know, you know what I mean? Because I'm a winner. I'm a competitor, And I know we don't have, millions and millions of dollars, but we have to maximize our handling of the race car. We got to get all the horsepower out of the engine. We got to maximize everything. And we're probably still not going to win the race, but I'm all about 110%. Every person on our racing team plays a key role in success. And there's so many successes in a race. It's not just the winner that pulls into victory lane.
Yeah.
It's the guy that had a problem at the start of the race, or, you didn't have a good practice, you didn't qualify well, or whatever it may be. But it's all about coming together as a team and finishing well, finishing strong. Sometimes, man, we finish 20th or we finish 18th or 17th or even 25th. I said, hey, guys, we won today because we shouldn't have been where we got to. You know what I mean? But to evaluate where we're at, I think, man, we're making small strides. We're getting our race cars where they drive good. And for a team like us, it ain't like we got all the power in the world underneath the hood of our race cars.
Right.
So we have to maximize. I want to hold that throttle down during the turns. And when you can hold that throttle down in the corners, then your straightaway speeds are going to be better. Mm-hmm. And I believe that we're making gains on that. It's not big gains, but every weekend it's a little bit better here, a little bit better there. So I think our team, Carl Long as my team owner, and our team is really doing a great job, and we're getting there. So it's a wonderful thing. And every racing team, you just look at Hendrick Motorsports, you're talking about Penske, all the racing teams. I don't care if you're winning or running in the middle, running in the back. Everybody's working to get that momentum to finish strong,
Right.
So, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you look at those runs too. 17th at Darlington, 17th at Talladega, 20th here at Texas. Like you said, it seems like those small strides and those small gains are starting to happen on a week-to-week basis.
Absolutely, man. You just got to build on that. My job as a race car driver, man, I keep my team energized. I let them know, hey, man, you guys are awesome. Thank you. I keep them pumped up. Let them know, hey, man, you guys are doing a heck of a job, and I love on them and I thank them. And that, man, a pat on the back to anybody goes a long way. You know what I mean? So I know they're working their tails off. They're going to go back to Charlotte and get a good night's sleep, and they'll be at the race shop tomorrow. You know what I mean? Getting our cars ready for Nashville next week. So pretty cool.
So before we transition to our news and notes and talk about Nashville, I do want to take a moment to plug the fine folks at Whataburger. Just a reminder that the folks at Whataburger cook up 100% pure beef burgers 24 hours a day. You can get your burger fixed anytime, day or night at Whataburger. Proud to serve it hot and fresh 24 hours a day. Nashville coming up next week. First time we've been there in a long time.
Yes.
What do you remember, first off, about your time spent at Nashville?
Man, I got a lot of memories there, and I'm going to tell you a quick story real quick, make it quick. But I don't remember what year it was, 2007, 6, 5, 2000 something. Man, I had I'd battled all day with Bobby Hamilton Sr. and Bobby Hamilton Jr. It was us three. We had the dominant trucks that day. And for some reason, with about 20 laps to go, I passed Bobby Hamilton Sr., the late Bobby Hamilton Sr., and I pulled out to like 2.5 second lead. And I was just counting the laps down. We come off turn 4, and they were supposed to be waving the white flag, and the color of the flag was the wrong color. It was caution. So, I mean, we had it was going to be a green-white checker, and I remember my crew chief telling me, he said, hey, man, we got to get a great start. You got this. And we always start in any NASCAR race, and all the race cars I drove, we start in second gear. And for some reason, I put it in first gear, spun the tires, and I drag raced Bobby into turn 1, and he got up on the outside of me. We drag raced down the back straightaway, and he beat me to the start-finish line. And I always asked him, how did you make your truck have grip up there in the second lane at Nashville Super Speedway? Because it's a concrete track. It's an awesome racetrack, but he beat me to the start-finish line, and I still have not forgiven myself. People say, hey, what races do you remember? It's all the ones I should have won. You know what I mean? There's so many I should have won, but that was one that kind of comes out in my mind about Nashville Super Speedway. I always wanted to we used to race at Memphis Motorsports Park, and they had the coolest trophy. I'm a big Elvis Presley fan, and they gave away an Elvis Presley trophy. And, man, I got so freaking close. I wanted that trophy because I love Elvis. He's timeless to me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And then you go over to Nashville Super Speedway and Sam Bass.
Yeah.
And I forget the good Gibson guitars, but the trophy was a guitar. And I was like, man, I was just thinking to myself, I'm going to have that guitar. I mean, what a cool trophy. And I'd be dang if I didn't let Bobby Hamilton beat me. I screwed up. You know what I mean? But Nashville's such a great racetrack, and I'm so glad that NASCAR put it back on the circuit. And, man, I think next weekend at Nashville is going to be a heck of a race weekend for the race fans.
I know it's been a long time since any series raced there, but the guys like yourself that have raced there, is there any advantage of some sorts of the experience that you have? I know that we've been in a couple different cars since then, but can you take anything from years previously at Nashville applied to now?
I wish I could tell you yes, but you got to understand these drivers that race in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, and the Cup Series. How many are there? There's 40. There's 40 of them in the Truck Series. There's 40 of them in the Xfinity Series, and there's 40 of them in the Cup Series. You're talking about 120 drivers in the world that race in NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
And I can assure you there are 120 of the best race car drivers around in the United States. You know what I'm saying? So, and with iRacing going on right now, a lot of these young kids, even though they've never been to the Nashville Super Speedway, when they get there, they have run thousands and thousands of laps on their iRacing simulators. And, man, I just don't think – I would tell you if there wasn't any iRacing, and iRacing is so 100% these days, how real it is, that without iRacing, I would tell you, hey, I got an advantage. But with these guys, they're all champions. They're all great race car drivers. I don't. It's just going to come to who's got a good handling race car, who does going to do their job behind the wheel and who's got a lot of horsepower underneath the hood.
So
That's
you're
what it comes
saying you're
down to.
picking William Byron?
Well, judging from the last couple of 4 or 5 Cup races, I would say Kyle Larson for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and throw some names out there for that Cup race. Dom, who are you looking at besides the obvious of Kyle Larson? Who do you think could contend next week in Nashville?
I feel like anybody in the Hendrick Motorsports bunch. Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman. I mean,
Why do we
or am I
keep-
going too obvious there too?
Why do people forget about Alex Bowman?
What about David Silver?
We'll get to David.
Yeah, I think Bowman, well, he got that fast start last year and kind of cooled off in December, but we're not seeing that this year. Bowman is still consistently running inside the top 10 in a lot of these races. I don't even know if you can really call him a dark horse or even the weakest link in Hendrick. How is there a weak link in Hendrick if he's the guy running 4th or 5th every week?
Yeah.
Hey, man, you guys keep talking about Hendricks, and I get it, and we talk about Penske, but, man, you're leaving out some sleepers out there. And I think we're going to see Denny Hamlin. You can't ever count out Kevin Harvick.
Kyle Busch.
I mean, there's just
Mark
so many. I mean, I was in Mark Tate's condo earlier watching the race, and Ricky Stenhouse was up there. You can't really take out. Remember, look at Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Ryan Newman. I mean, there's
Chris
a lot
Buescher.
of Chris Buescher. I mean, running good. Michael McDowell. I mean, I hope, and then Matty D. Matty D's got a new crew chief. He showed a little bit of speed tonight in the All-Star race. So I really hope it's just from a standpoint that we have a kind of a dark horse win next week. So there's no telling.
Well, David, we've talked about on this podcast plenty of times early on in the season. It seemed like we were having a different winner every week. Are we still on that same boat thinking we're going to have 17 winners?
Well, we were, but I don't think anymore, man. I think we probably got 2 or 3 that are going to win some more races that we hadn't seen in Victory Lane in 2021. I really think Kevin Harvick, and I really think Denny Hamlin. I mean, I just think here in the next 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to see one of those guys back in Victory Lane. So, but man, when you look at Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson, and you look at the Penske cars, I mean, you're looking at some of the guys that are going to be going for the championship. I mean, we ain't even talked about Martin Truex Jr. I mean, that guy's strong when it comes.
He's
down
had multiple wins this season.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
So we're not talking about a lot of good guys that have a shot at winning the race next week and the championship at the end of the year.
Yeah, a couple more news and notes for you. Andy Lally, a friend of the show, he's going to drive for another friend of the show, BJ McLeod at Road America. That became official. Also, Cody Ware not running next week in Nashville. He's going to instead run the IndyCar race at Road America. Dave, what do you think of those two?
Wow,
notes?
man, Cody's a great friend of mine, and obviously Andy Lally's good friends of our show. He was on our show, and
BJ.
And good for them, man. I know Cody Ware's always, he talked about maybe running Indianapolis 500 this in May a couple weeks ago, and it didn't happen because of a sponsor commitment didn't come, and I know that Rick Ware and Cody Ware, that's a big deal for them. So congratulations to them on that. And Andy Lally's such a great race car driver. I'm glad to see him getting an opportunity and not just a road racing car to get back on a oval track. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool news.
What do you think, Tom?
Absolutely. I mean, we'll just kind of have to see what happens. I think the rumor there, too, is Jeff Gordon potentially his last race in the broadcast booth. They were silent about it on the broadcast tonight, but that's got my wheels turning there, too.
They didn't say goodbye.
They didn't say goodbye. And Roger Penske also met with the media on Friday. They have no words to say as of yet what's going to happen with Brad Keselowski. So they're like, hey, it's still June. We still have a lot of racing to go.
Yeah.
Well, and the way he raced tonight, the way Keselowski raced, they're not going to be holding back. I mean, even if he makes it clear he's leaving, they're still going to go hard every week. There won't be any lack from that 2 club.
Well, it's much like when Kevin Harvick announced midway through 2013 he was going to be leaving Richard Childress Racing for Stuart Haas in 2014. He was still a championship contender all the way to Homestead under that old points format and still finished 3rd that year.
Talking about Brad Keselowski, I mean, that opportunity he has, if that's a true deal on the table, I mean, for me, I would be surprised if Brad didn't take that, to have an ownership with Roush Fenway. I mean, the Fenway Group, the National Baseball League, the stadium, their baseball
Red
team.
Sox, yeah.
I mean, that's some pretty heavy hitters. And to be a part of that as an owner, I mean, I would be shocked. I think my personal opinion is, this is only my opinion, I think the deal's already done, but just the respect and the relationship that Brad Keselowski has with Roger Penske, Roger really put Brad on the map and made him who he is. Brad did it by his ability, but he had some great race cars to drive with Penske Motorsports.
Yeah.
And so I just think out of respect, he's driving his tail off because he wants to try to give Roger a championship before he moves on to the next step of his career. You know what I'm saying? And then you were also asking, what was the next question? What else did you?
We're talking about Jeff Gordon, the broadcast booth.
Yeah, and again, I mean, Jeff is he's done a tremendous job. I love watching him in the booth. I mean, to have Jeff in the booth is just good for our industry. But, again, you look at Jeff Gordon, he's going to be taking over the reins at Hendrick Motorsports. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That is a no-brainer. So I see that happening as well. So it's kind of interesting. A lot of cool stuff happening in our sport. Be interesting to find out the next 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 weeks. There's a big news coming, and it's going to be exciting to hear. Yeah.
I think so. All right. Last segment. We end every show with this here on a Let's Go Racing. It's our Ask David segment. But before we do that, stop by Whataburger for a hot, hearty breakfast any morning or late at night. They're serving up breakfast from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. Proud to serve it hot and fresh 24 hours a day. Whataburger.
Absolutely. Whataburger, baby.
So we kind of flipped the segments here, right? You took care of the do's and notes. I guess I have to take over the Ask David segment.
Here's my idea. Here's what I was thinking, Dom, for Ask David. Since we have our live feed going, since we're doing this live for the first time, and we also have our crowd, our peanut gallery. I figured let's take questions not only on social, but also from the peanut gallery, too.
I like that.
Cool.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and start with the peanut gallery. Who's our first question?
It's like a press conference. We're on the other side of it.
Oh, yeah.
Ask more.
Not everybody at once. All right.
When did you start racing?
All right, hold on. Who do we have here asking our question? Introduce our
Brad Tate is a buddy of mine I've known for.
Come on camera with us,
Come here, Brad.
Let's see who you are.
Brad
Show's
Tate.
bad.
I've known Brad for about 35 years, maybe longer. We used to speed skate together. We roller skated together, and we drove. Who did we skate for? Derry Ashford in Houston, Texas. So it was kind of like the racing business now. People were courting you. I skated for Airline Skating Ring Speed Skating Club, and then Derry Ashford recruited me. And when I got to Derry Ashford, Brad Tate was one of my teammates. You know what I mean? And he lives up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We've kept in contact, and he was here at the race. So that's who Brad is. A good friend of mine I've known forever from speed skating.
So Brad, what's your question?
So when did you start actually driving?
Well, Brad's question, when did I start racing cars? I started racing when I was 14 years old in Houston, Texas at Big H Speedway. I was just 14 years old. My dad helped me build my first race car, and I started racing at Big H Speedway on eastbound Houston and in East Houston. Pretty awesome. So it's been a long time.
And Dom just started racing.
Well, I don't know about that. I did test the race car a couple of weekends ago. I could probably learn a few lessons from him.
Well,
I
absolutely,
didn't crash the
man.
car.
Thanks for the question.
Good question, Brad.
Who's got another?
Who's got a question?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, that's great. Just circle around. There we go.
Hi.
All right.
So
David, first off, introduce us to our next guest.
Oh, hi, I'm Jackie.
Jackie. So Jackie dates Tony, and Tony owns a company called Boathouse Bar and Grill. He was on Timmy Hill's open car today on his hood, and they've been a guest today and yesterday, and having a great time. And so Jackie and Tony are together and here with us this evening. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, Tony, come over here.
Come on,
Come on
Tony.
down, Tony.
Hey, we found Tony Bowman.
All right,
What's your
Jackie.
question,
Tony.
Jackie?
My question is, since I'm like new to the whole NASCAR thing, everybody keeps talking about, like you said, turn 2, right? And like, I even know Matt was saying like people crash in turn 2. Can you explain why turn 2 is like harder to turn at? But I really don't know. I'm just asking.
That's a great question. You know when.
Such a really great question.
That's a man. That's a,
We've been watching. Right?
We're still wondering why.
I hear you. So, man, we're up here at Mark Tate's condo, and you look down. We're overlooking turn 2 here at the Texas Motor Speedway, and you can look down and see where the tire marks stop, and it's at the wall, And to explain, there's a lot of side-by-side racing going on in turns 1 and 2. You enter turn 1 and 2, And when you're side by side tonight in the All-Star race, we saw 3-4 wide coming off turn 2. But a lot of time they put that PH1, the sticky stuff in the middle of the racetrack.
Is it kitty litter?
And that's not kitty litter. Some traction stuff that we have on the racetrack that keeps everything tacky, and it makes side by side racing is really good. But man, the racing is so tough, so tight there. A lot of times the car on the inside will take the car on the outside will take the air off the car on the inside, and guys spin. It's just a tough part of the racetrack. You know, when you're racing that hard, that fast, and you're that close to the cars around you, things happen. And just so happened that turn 2 at the Texas Motor Speedway, there's a lot of action right there. You know what I mean? So, but Jackie, that's a great question. Thank you, man. Yeah, that's
Thank
a
you,
great
Jackie.
question. Yeah.
Give Jackie a hand.
Who's that?
All right, Mark's got a question.
I gotta bring Mark in, man.
Come on,
Come on, bring Mark in.
The man of the hour, Mark Tate. Oh, we know you do, Mark Tate. Our
Hey,
buddy
guys,
Mark Tate.
This is Mark Tate.
Why is it taking so long for you guys to get down here?
Hey, we'll be back anytime.
All right. October, right?
October. That's
October.
right. That's right.
No, I don't have a question.
No,
We
you
just-
gotta have questions.
No,
I
we
have
just
to have a question.
we wanted everybody to see Mark Tate. This is such a great guy. He owns 3 condos here at the Texas Motor Speedway, and if you watch, Mark owns it. Mark, tell him what you do.
We're T-top manufacturing, metal fabricating. David hadn't let me make a hood for him yet, but he did put me on one. But no, we just, I've been a NASCAR fan since this place opened, well, before. And I've probably been to as many races as y'all have out here. And, it's just fun. It's just good people. Everybody's good people in NASCAR races. So
Absolutely.
I've been a fan.
It really is a family.
And Mark is the best. Today in the open race, I called Mark last week. I said, hey, man, we needed a little help on our race car. And Mark said, hey, sign me up. And we put him on the hood. So you see that big T on the hood of our cup car for the open race. It was T-top
It was sweet.
manufacturer.
It was sweet.
And Mark and his wife, Connie, man,
Nah, we love it.
they're just super
Metal fabricating.
metal fabricate. They build all kinds of parts for all kinds of customers. Peterbilt's one of them. And man, Mark can make anything. If you need a part made for a vehicle or for airports, I mean, what is that? The railing,
The baggage handling. We can do it all.
Mark,
It's made out of metal. We can do it.
that's right. So Mark's just a great partner, a great friend, and he's just been good to so many people this weekend. Invited them into his condos.
Yeah.
Let
Thank you
us.
so much.
Oh, Have we had fun?
Look forward to it.
Thanks so much for telling me to come
Yeah.
to Mexico.
All right.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mark.
Condos.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How about you, Chris? You got a question?
I don't even know what to ask. Come on down, Chris.
Hold on.
You got it.
All right.
All right. So who are you?
All right. Hey, I'm Chris Salazar. I'm from Grants, New Mexico.
I'm sorry.
Same town as Dominic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be sorry. My question for David Starr is, what's your favorite thing about the Texas Motor Speedway track? Is it the condos? Is it the people that come here? Is it racing because it's your home track?
Man, so I love all aspects of it. The best part is when I climb through that window and put my seatbelts on, put my helmet on. I just, besides my little boys and my wife, what makes my heart beat is racing. You know what I mean? Has been since I was a little boy. It's a dream come true that I still race. It's everything to me. But the best part, when you take away the racing part, because that's everything, the second best part is the people, the friendships, the relationships.
Yeah.
Because the racing, I hate to say this, but the racing will go away one day. It's my 24th year. I hope to do it 3 or 4 more years full time and be equal with everybody so we can win again. But when the racing finally stops for us, our relationships, everybody's relationships last a lifetime.
Absolutely.
You can go anywhere in the United States.
You can't get rid of me, David.
That's right. You know what I mean? So, great question, Chris. But that's the best part is the people, man.
Now,
That's the people.
Let's bring in the Starr family. Hold on. Let's bring in Kim, everybody. Let's bring in. Let's bring in. Okay. Let's. All right, boys. Welcome to the show. We took these guys hill garden. They had a good time.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Even though you wrecked me, I still hold that against you.
These are my pride and joy. This is little Vance. Vance, Starr, tell them how old you are, buddy.
8, and
Tell
my
me.
dad's trying to order me a sprint car so I can race.
He's my racer. And here's my non-racer. Tell him what your name is and what you want to do.
I'm DJ and I play basketball.
He's my basketball player. Absolutely. So these are my guys right here, man.
Well, I'm
So-
gonna replace my dad.
Okay, now here's Mom.
And here's Mom.
And I'm Kim, and I just want to know when I get a Chanel bag.
Hey! A round of applause for the Starr family.
All right, thank you guys. All right.
I got to tell you, I've known David a couple years, and we've gotten, since we're doing this show, to get to know the family. You've brought us in as your own, essentially, and whether it's Kim or the boys, whatever, or the whole gang here, we always hear NASCAR is a family sport, but you guys really embrace that.
Well, you have to, you're my youngest boy, Vance, he wants to race, and I'm proud of that. And my oldest boy, he wants to be a NBA basketball player, and I'm proud of that. And, my wife, I'm gone all the time. Sometimes I'm gone for 2 weeks, and, she's the rock of the family. She takes care of the kids and makes sure our homestead's all taken care of. She's awesome. She's everything. Most people don't understand our sport. Just because we race on Saturdays, our sponsor commitments, I got to be back at the shop in Charlotte. There's so many commitments, and I'm gone a lot. You know what I mean? So it's a big family thing for us. It has been. Most people say, tell my wife and tell me, man, like y'all's life, that's not normal, but it's our normal. It's what we've done ever since I met my wife as my girlfriend. It's what we did then, and it's what we do today. So it's our normal, So it's awesome. I love having my family at the racetrack with me, and just love having our friends. And it's cool, man. It's dream stuff,
Absolutely.
I'm living a dream. I don't want to wake up,
So a couple more for you. These are social media questions that have been sent in. JD wants to know, says, David is a great guy. Very late. Oh my gosh. I'm going to pretend I didn't say it.
It's all good. Hey, y'all saw my beautiful wife, so we know that is.
Move on quickly.
Let's move on.
David is a great guy. Hey, David, how did you bounce back from the heavy air and high heat that drained you yesterday? I saw you. You were about to pass out.
You're putting the water in Whataburger right there, pouring that down your back.
Man, I was hot. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I was hot. It just, when, like I said, when the race ended, I was burning up, and it was challenging. But having water poured over my head and sitting in front of a fan for about 15 minutes and taking a cold shower, I really bounced back. You know what I mean? I wanted to run another 500-mile race today. You know what I mean? But I didn't get that opportunity. But my wife helped me, and drinking a lot of water, hydrating. It was hot. And it was not only.
Eddie Gossage said it's 140 degrees at the minimum in those cars.
Yeah,
Gossage, the man. Ordered that heat.
it was hot. It was not only.
In the car.
Yeah, like my wife said, it was hot in the car, but not only for the drivers, for the crew that are standing on pit road, and the guests that we had on the pit boxes. I mean, it was hot for everybody, and the race fans. It just goes to show you how committed the race fans are. I couldn't believe how many people were in the stands, and as hot as it was. I mean, it just shows you how strong our sport is, how great our fans are. It's pretty
Absolutely.
awesome. You know what I mean? So,
Another question. Corey wants to know, how'd you like the Waffle House after the 600?
I love the Waffle House after the 600, man. I think, Corey, it was, hey, man, thank you for buying my dinner that night. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, and Corey, thank you. I love the Waffle House. It's one of my go-to places in the middle of the night. We get done racing late at night, and man, when I leave the racetrack, if it's a Saturday night or a Friday night, you can find me at a local Waffle House, you know, and
But we had that after Phoenix in March.
we did have to at Phoenix, so no doubt about it, man. So I love my Whataburger, and don't get me, I eat Whataburger once a day, but after a long night of racing, you can pretty much catch me at a Waffle House somewhere.
Or an Olive Garden.
Or an Olive Garden.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's triple threat right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, what's your meal
absolutely.
at Waffle House?
Man, I like 3 eggs over medium with hash browns and a sirloin steak. I'm pretty simple, you know what I mean? Pretty simple, man. Yeah. You know? Absolutely. They don't have Whataburger shakes. That's the only thing wrong with the Waffle House or a Whataburger hamburger. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Well, guys, we've had a lot of fun. Dominic, I want you to kind of just take us home. We'll wrap up. First off, tell me your just thoughts overall this weekend. I mean, this has been, you know, we've been to a lot of races over the years, and I can tell you this is one of, if not the best race weekends I've ever been a part of. You know, not only just to be back from COVID, but the experience we've had with, you know, all of David's team and the condo and all this. I mean, this has just been remarkable. We're certainly grateful to be here, and we'll be back in the near future for sure.
Very grateful, very blessed to be able to have this opportunity. You're absolutely right. I was actually telling Chris Salazar, talked the other day, covered 64 race weekends, but this is going to go down as the best one yet. And, you know, we were thank you to Mark Tate and everybody part of the crew. And, you know, you were talking about earlier, both of you guys, how the sport's nothing without the fans. I think what we should do, let's get everybody in here on camera. Let's see who's all here in the studio with us today. This show isn't possible without you guys.
That's a great idea. That's a good idea.
Come on, everybody.
We'll see how many people we can fit in on this
Our
screen.
live studio tonight here, turn 2.
This
Little
feels
Starr
like-
condos.
Feels like college game day of some sort
Yeah.
out here. But
Good to see you. Yeah.
there's the whole gang.
The whole gang's here.
They're
Come
all.
on in. Come on.
Come on in, guys.
Come on,
Plenty of
guys.
room.
Oh,
Come on,
yeah.
babe. Come on, babe.
Where's Chris?
Come on, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Come on,
I don't even think we can fit everybody on camera that's in the building right now. But nonetheless, this has been a lot of fun. David, kind of what's been your takeaways from just what we've experienced this weekend, having everybody here and how everything's going?
Man, I think the racing was just awesome. The Texas Motor Speedway did a great job for the first All-Star race here at the Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
The fans were
How about
unbelievable.
those drones?
Man, the
Yeah.
just everything. It was just a perfect weekend of NASCAR racing, man. And it just goes to show you this is what it's all about. The people, the race fans, the racing was good. It was a great weekend. NASCAR racing is alive and well in Texas in the United States. No doubt about it.
Well, being here in the state of Texas, guys, you could just smell the freedom in the air.
Yes,
Sure can.
Oh my God!
man.
Yeah.
Can I move here?
Oh yeah.
I will say,
Oh, yeah.
it is a night and day difference from being home.
We are Texas proud. I can assure you that. All of us, man. All of
This
us.
Okie feels right at home in Texas.
Absolutely,
That's a
absolutely.
little odd. But nonetheless, anybody else have anything we want to say before we get out of here?
Good luck in Nashville. Man.
Yes. Awesome.
What flight are we on?
That's a great question.
Well, and Tyler, you're always asking us what we're up to. That never gets flipped on you. What are you up to this week?
What am I up to this week?
Yeah.
I'm going to David's house tomorrow. And, you know, I get to see the whole backyard, you know, that he works, you know, 48 hours a week on. You know.
And his cool office where he does the show from
That
usually.
really gets done.
Oh, is that
You're getting farther from that Chanel
So-
bag, Kim.
That's a beautiful backyard.
Absolutely.
Okay.
He works on it every day, all day long.
So I'll see this, and I'm not flying home till Tuesday, so I'll have a couple days here. That'll be what I'm to. What's going on with you and the racing experts this week?
Man, we'll continue to cover the sport, the daily news of it. And man, I got it. Chris, I don't know where he's at, but I have to give him a shout out. He did a kick-ass job for us this week in covering photos,
Yes.
not only for everybody
Yes, he
here,
did.
but for our team. So, you know, it's people like him that keep the website going. Justin Malillo, Jonathan Field. I know you all are watching. Kyle Stevens, Jeff Ames. We had a meeting Thursday here, a conference call roundtable. So thank you to everybody who makes the racing experts continue, because it's not possible with not only our staff, but also the fans. No fans, no sport.
So David, you get to hang out with me tomorrow, and then what's the rest of your week look like?
Well, there was a lot going on getting ready for Nashville. So I have to be in Nashville, I think, Wednesday night. So spend some time with these little guys and my wife and do a little yard work and hang out with you. And yeah.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
So we got
He's
a lot
putting
of
to work, huh?
We got a lot of stuff going on, man. But hey,
I'm here for it.
all for realness. Thank you for the fans that tune in every week and listen to our podcasts. I know we have a lot of guests with us tonight, but next week, hopefully we'll have another race car driver on the podcast with us.
I believe we're having Jeffrey Earnhardt next.
Yeah. So that'd be kind of cool. Yes. Yeah. So
We got some great stuff down the pipe that we're looking forward to announcing some really A-listers, we'll put it that way, for the very near future.
Yeah, you were. So give us a teaser. Give us a good tease.
We love Jeffrey. We're coming close to confirming some, let's say, some A drivers. Some of the
Perfect.
higher Cup team drivers,
awesome.
and which will be in the very near future. We got some
Retired or
current. Yes. And we also have some names outside the sport that I don't think I'm at liberty to say those names yet, but
Give us initials.
this guy knows. He'll tell you.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out. Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, come on anytime. You're not doing anything.
Absolutely.
Where's
Yeah.
Nonetheless, we got to go. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll have to do this again in the future, these live streams. In the meantime, we'll be back next week for the normal show. Jeffrey Earnhardt's going to join us, and we'll see you then. For David Starr, Dominic Argon, I'm putting the checkered flag out on this one. And make sure
all the fans.
Yes, all the fans.
At Mark Tate's.
Yes. Mark Tate, everybody, Whataburger, we certainly thank you. Subscribe to Let's Go Racing with David Starr on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Leave us that 5-star review, or don't leave us one at all.
And make sure to give that thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm.
Yes,
Absolutely.
we certainly would appreciate that. And you can follow us on Twitter at
There they are.
Star Podcast,
There's the rest of the crew.
Facebook.com// David Star Podcast. And make sure to follow us there. We certainly would appreciate it. Gotta go.
And sometimes they don't read. Usually they just watch. They don't do that.
Yeah, they gotta subscribe, watch. We certainly appreciate it. Gotta go.
Keeping them on.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for staying up late with us here on Let's Go Racing. Have a great night. So long.
Thanks, guys.
Hey!
Awesome, man.
All right.
All right, man.
Good job, guys.
All right, good job. Hey,
And that.
hey.
Oh,